It's time for the Everyman, where real man talk.
Let's go. Time to grind, get inside your mind. Yeah, we working overtime. That's the only way to climb. We gon' make it in our prime. Signing on the dotted line, cashing checks left and right. That's the way I'm living life.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Everyman podcast. Now, tonight we have no special guest, which is great. It's just me and Dean. Christian is at work. James is fixing a leaky roof. I got carried away with my words there slightly. As you can see, anyone who follows and watches the podcast regularly, Dean is or has moved his house around again. So there'll be no more seeing his wife sneak in and out of the room, as people like to let us know very often that's what she does. How are you doing tonight, mate?
Not bad, mate. Bit tired today. I haven't done anything that I probably should have done. Like, I've been at the gym. I've barely been up. I've done hardly any steps or anything. So, bit of a flat day, to be honest. I think off the back of yesterday.
So what? You've been up. You haven't been to the gym.
Haven't been to the gym. Done
Haven't
hardly
done
any
exercise.
steps. Nah, I took the dog out for like 15 minutes. I've just worked all day. I feel a bit tired. I think maybe I did too much last week. Especially with like football, like 5 times. Went to the gym a few times. Running on top of that as well. So I just feel a little bit maybe like I need to just have a rest day. What about yourself,
Okay.
mate?
Yeah, I probably feel the same actually. Like, although we had a pretty chill weekend, right? We didn't actually do anything, but I feel really tired. Who's commenting? Because you're laughing
Just
already.
down there. So all that running you didn't do in centre midfield yesterday. I just had no energy yesterday. Like, I don't know what it was.
I could tell.
Yeah,
It felt like I was carrying you in centre mid physically yesterday.
Yeah,
which was
it was a
really
bad.
tough.
That was probably one of the worst that I felt like. Maybe it was that Friday night game that we shouldn't have played. Maybe.
I don't think so. So yeah, let's just give people a little bit of a lowdown of what our weekend actually looked like. So we played a charity football match on Friday night. We lost. Was it 5-4?
Yeah.
Yeah, lost 5-4, and it was one of those where it wasn't actually our football team. We brought some ringers in. It was majority our football team, which was really bad though. We got beat 5-4, and that was really bad. But I think we topped it off with a great Nando's.
Yeah.
Like, it was a good Nando's. We ate a lot. I think Ethan helped carry us with that eating a lot with the amount he consumed. I think there was a picture on my story, and everyone couldn't believe how much food there was.
That didn't even include mine.
I didn't even include yours.
No.
And I had to bring stuff home and eat it the next day, which probably wasn't the best thing. The next day eating cold Nando's, but it
I
filled the hole.
last night.
Did you?
2 days later.
2 days later. Oh, I don't know how I feel about 2 days old Nando's.
That's straight in the air fryer. Was sound.
Good.
Maybe why I'm feeling like this today, though.
Probably, yeah. What did we didn't do anything Saturday? Oh, we did, didn't we? So tell everyone about what your Saturday consisted of without slagging off the place that you went too much.
Oh no, we went for a spa day, but for my birthday.
Why did you go for a spa day? Yeah.
Because my wife's going away for 6 weeks to Japan, so I'm gonna be alone for for 6 weeks. So we're celebrating my birthday a little bit early. So we went to a spa day, but it was just a little bit shit. It was looked nothing like the photos, and like me masseuse just talked to me all the way through. But like, you're too polite, aren't you, to just say like, oh, like, to not reply, or like after to be fair, after she stopped talking, like, I could just stop talking, but then I feel bad because like it's a one-sided conversation. So it's like when you go to the barbers and you get your hair cut, and they could show you anything on the back of that mirror, and you would say, yeah, it's out, mate. Oh yeah, fuck, I forget. Sorry, Lewis.
Lewis, do you know when you go to the barbers? No,
I don't want to go to the bar, yeah.
Yeah, I know when I go to the bar, yeah. But yeah, I'm not too sure on the barbers anymore. It has been a while, which means I can spend more money at the bar. So
Hmm.
it has its pros and cons, right?
Hmm.
Look like an egg, but get to go to the bar more, less to the barbers. So yeah, that is definitely a
And that
win.
was just a bit shit, really. Like, I don't know. It's a bit anticlimactic. I looked forward to it all weekend and then got there and then, like, I was just thinking, "Oh, I want to leave." So yeah, and then went for dinner, and then we said, you know what it is? We always go to the same place for dinner. Why don't we try some like new places? So I tried a
Hmm.
new place, got there, and then I was like, just wish I went to the old places that I normally go to, because like, I spent more money than I normally would, and the food was worse than it normally is. So I'm a bit disappointed. So all in all, the day was all it was different from what we'd normally do on a Saturday. It was a bit anticlimactic, as I say.
Yeah, it didn't sound the best. I have to be honest. When I seen you on Saturday, because we went and watched the match, and it wasn't. It didn't sound like you'd had the best day. And I think when you're talking to your mate and you've seen that he's been out with his missus all day, I can see you laughing at some of the copy and paste questions I put in the chat. I haven't even read them.
Where did you get
So
them
that
from?
um,
One says, "Can I give you a
www.
makeover?"
Lewis, can I put a wig on your head? I feel like maybe this is what we have to do when it's a podcast like tonight, where it's just generally a catch up. It's a check in. We've got a lot of things happening in 2024. We can talk about some of those things, but maybe we just ask each other some stupid questions. But no, you can't give me a makeover. I would like to give you a makeover. To be fair, I've had to pretty much dress you before a night out before when you were going out in a Nike jumper, and I was like,
A night jumper. I'm a married man. I don't need to
yeah, that is
impress
true.
anyone.
Yeah, that is very true. Um, But yeah, you did borrow a shirt, which I still haven't got back yet. But it's a good job I don't need it.
I actually quite like the look. I've worn it a couple of times.
I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have. Mate, you can borrow.
Wear it with Baker's jeans.
You still got his trainers?
Oh, aye.
Yeah, still got his
Well,
trainers.
they're not his, they're mine, but.
Yeah, of course. That makes sense. Um, yeah, so we have a lot coming on or coming up over the podcast. I suppose just a little bit of reflection on how you feel the start of 2024 has gone for you personally. Then we'll talk about how 2024 has gone for the pod. We may talk about me
Um,
2024 as well, to be fair.
yeah, it's been all right. I've sort of flicked on and off the diet. I mean, pretty much most weeks I've been, pretty much like 4 days on diet, like strict diet, 3 days
Yeah.
off. Um, I think my thing is, I still haven't sort of set me goals. Last year, I like set a monthly goal, a 3 monthly goal, 6 months, and 12 month.
Mm,
And although I didn't actually stick to a lot of them, at least I made some positive changes. Um, so I feel like it's something I really need to do. But every time I get some free time, I'm just like, I can't be bothered to do that. But I feel
mm.
like that's probably something I need to do for maybe February, just to give myself like an idea of what I want to do. But no, other than that, yeah, it's been going well. Getting a little bit fit. I'm still getting out for me runs. I'm still getting out to go to the gym and stuff like that. But I don't feel like I've really at the minute got anything that I'm sort of striving
Driving
towards.
towards, yeah.
Yeah, especially with doing that 75 hard. This year I was like, well, I don't want to do proper 75 hard, but I'll do a form of it. But like without having the sort of need to stick to the plan. Like it's really easy to just stray from it and have a couple of days where you just go, oh well, like today, like really I should have got up this morning and went to the gym. Like I tossed and turned in bed thinking, oh, I wish I could just get back to sleep. I should have just got up and went. So saying it now, I'll probably just go to the gym after this just to do something. But I think that's probably the main thing. I might sit down at the gym in between my sets and sort of think about what I want to do for the rest of the
So do
year.
you feel like you're maybe lacking a little bit of purpose at the moment?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think work as well. I've decided that I'm gonna go back to being good at my job. And that's because I feel like it's a conscious thing now where I think where in the past things have changed so much at work. Bonus
Mm,
isn't nearly what it was, and sort of I've used that as an excuse to just sort of coast through. And now I'm thinking, well, really, it's just spiting myself. So I'm just going to push myself really hard just to do really well like I used to. I used to be really motivated, and I think I've lost a little bit of that. um,
How long would you say you've lost that for?
Um, the hard thing for me is in the department that I'm in. Previously, there was a leaderboard. My manager, if he's watching this, he'll laugh at this, but there's no leaderboard in my department, so you're fighting against yourself in terms of what are you happy with, like your bonus. So you can work hard and get X amount of money, or you can work really, really hard and get a bit more. But like for me, I like that sort of competitiveness of trying to be better than the person above you and trying to move up the leaderboard, but they don't have that, which is the first sales role I've ever had where you don't have that sort of. You've got no judgment on how you're doing compared to anybody else, and since that, I've struggled to sort of push myself to motivate myself to be better because I'm not, is it again, being better than anyone else. So probably since I come to this department, maybe after 6 or 7 months, something like that. Once I was sort of happy with the commission I was getting, knowing I could work harder and get more, I didn't have that motivation to work hard and get more. For me, in the past, it wasn't about the money I was earning. The money I was earning was sort of come as trying to be better than the other people. So having that competitiveness really pushes me, and the money was like the second, believe it or not. I liked being number one rather than getting the most bonus, but it come hand in hand, you know.
Yeah. So, when you look at where you are now, and so it sounds a little bit like you're coasting a little bit. How are
Hmm.
you? Like, how's that making you feel when? Because you're in a sales role, right? So you're competitive. You've got to try and be the best. You've got to make as much money as possible. How does that make you feel when you're not being competitive?
It just feels boring, doesn't it? To be honest, it makes the days drag, and it feels like more mundane than what it was. Whereas, like I remember the days when I used to do the 11-hour shifts, and I wouldn't even take a break until 5 o'clock, and I'd start at 9, and I'd just be hammering through me calls, call, and the days going dead quick. And then now I feel like it drags a little bit more because you get sort of stuck in this. I mean, the systems have all changed as well. You know, it used to be really rapid, whereas now it's a little bit slower and stuff like that. So what happens
Hmm.
for me is you get into that thing of spending 5 minutes offline placing orders, and you sort of fall out of the rhythm of it, you know, and it's easy to, click and then wait a couple of seconds and click rather than like hammer through. So um, today I've just rattled through the work as quick as I can, and like the way my commission's looking, obviously it's early doors, but the way my commission's looking now compared to what it was last month, for example, it's chalk and cheese. So it's obviously, like I say, day one, but I'm motivated to sort of keep myself going and see how well I can do at the end of the month.
That makes sense. That makes total sense. Um, and so if you're saying that you've kind of been coasting a little bit. Like, how do you get yourself out of it? So for me, how I generally, in the past and even today, how I try and pick myself out of lulls in performance or lulls in sort of my motivation is just write some really clear, simple goals. Like, the more simple, the more achievable they are. Like, don't overcomplicate it. Don't make them too time bound, as in 2 months. As in
Mm,
like 2 years, for example. Make it more like 2 months is your longest term goal, but think on like what can you actually do tangibly tomorrow that will drastically improve that. So whether that's getting in earlier, that's always a great one. Getting up earlier is a great, even better start because you can
yeah,
affect that straight away. That affects your day. Get up earlier, move before you start work, get into work before, so you're not getting in and straight away. Oh shit, feel like I'm catching up a little bit. So you're walking into work fully energized,
yeah.
like, and then set your so having done a similar role to you before, like, I don't know, do you get 2 or 3 breaks a day, something like that? Set
Yeah,
yourself a
two
target between
15s and
each
a
break.
lunch. Yeah,
Set yourself a target between each break, very clearly. Of I want 4 sales or 5 sales, whatever
yeah.
it is, very clearly, and you have to beat the target. I worked with
Mm,
someone, um, a guy called Carl, and he was incredible at like that whole just setting yourself up to really compete with yourself every day, irrespective of who's going on around you, who or what's going on around you. Just very clearly set goals and targets every day that pushes you. And if you don't achieve that, it's that whole shoot for the stars and you land on the moon. Well, you're on the moon and
Yeah,
you've got a
yeah,
great view of it. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's one of those, like, set yourself stretch targets, be really clear on what they are, keep it as simple as possible, but start by, like, and I know you struggle getting up, but get up a bit earlier. Those
yeah.
sorts of things massively help.
I think that's probably one thing that I've actually done better this year.
Hmm.
Is bedtime wise. I'm going to bed pretty much the same time every night. So come about, I mean, like got last night and it was like 9:30, and I'm thinking I might just go to bed. I'm just sitting there doing nothing. So I've had that like sort of consistent bedtime. So I've been going to bed
Hmm.
like between 10 and 10:30, and then I've been getting up, but just like certain mornings, I need to have a specific plan of what's happening in the morning. Like I lay my clothes out, I'm going to the gym, this is what's happening, or I'm going for a run, and then I'm set. And then as soon as I wake up, I know what I'm doing. On the mornings like today, where I was thinking, oh, I could have a lie in, but what I might
Hmm.
do is I might go to the gym, but I didn't set my clothes out. When I wake up, I don't have that reason. I struggle. So having that specific reason, I think it will help. But I think that this year, when you asked earlier what take from this year, I think that's actually something that I have been a bit better at. I'm not trying to get up at stupid o'clock like I was. I was trying to get up at 5:30, things like that. Now I'm just trying to get up like 6:30, 6:45, and it's a lot easier. Rather than trying to, I was trying to do too much. Like I was saying, my ideal scenario every day was that I get up in the morning, I walk to the gym, which is like 3 miles away. I then work out for 45 minutes and I run home, and that would be ideal. But like that's like it's too much. It's like 2.5, 3 hours of work before I even get to work. So just trying to make it as easy as possible. Like it's helping.
I think, yeah, I think me and you are both so guilty of that, aren't we?
Yeah,
Like, we are either training like either elite athletes or someone about to go to war, or
yeah,
we are just being fat, lazy slobs.
yeah,
So
100%.
we literally have no balance of,
Nah,
like
you're all
like
or nothing,
I
aren't you?
yeah, 100%. My whole life has, and it probably is the reason why I get so frustrated with myself. Like,
Mm,
I get up, or if I'm in a good routine, I'm like, right, I'm getting up at 5:30. I'm not drinking. So I'll like cut out drink, I'll cut out takeaways, and I'll train like 6 days in a row or something. I'll feel great. And then it's one day off, one day, one night
yeah,
out or something. That's it. Boom, all gone.
yeah.
I'm I'm not training, or I'll injure myself, or I'll do something stupid. So
I
yeah,
think we're like
I
that as
feel
well, though, aren't we? Like, when you go, like, you're all into the working out and stuff when you're doing it, but then you go, right, okay, I'm not going out, but then we'll go out and we'll remember that, oh, wait a minute, this is actually really good, and we'll actually really enjoy it. And then it's like, well, actually, we want to go out all the time now, so, like, and then
oh yeah,
like, go the other
do
way.
you even saying that is it's like the first time the pennies dropped there. Like, I'm all in on the good stuff, but then I'm all in
Yeah,
on like the
yeah, yeah,
self-sabotage, eating takeaways, going on nights out, or even us even us like the nights where, what did we do? We went and watched the football on Saturday. Um we still got in late. It was like 11ish, wasn't it? Half
yeah,
10,
yeah,
11. Like, that's still a late night, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
And I still woke up in the morning, got in, watched the last episode of Traitors, which I will not spoil for anyone, but Traitors is incredible. I've got Dean finally watching it today.
Yeah,
Um,
uh,
no, you haven't. This morning,
I haven't,
bef-
yeah, before work.
you watched it before work, and you may have watched some after work. Let's just say it.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
keep it simple. Yeah, that's what would have happened for anyone who is or might be listening, right? Um, yeah, I think that was just such an interesting game show. So my question would be, could you be a traitor?
I'm like, if you speak me mom or me missus and that, I'm like the worst liar in the world. I'll give you an example of this yesterday. Yesterday, me lass had moved all the beer off the side and onto the table. And I was like, oh, why you moved the alcohol? And she was like, oh, because you spilt water all over from the coffee machine. And then like I was like, no, I didn't. And I was like convinced that I hadn't. But then I come in and I goes, I haven't even made coffee for a couple of days. And it was true that I hadn't made coffee for a couple of days. But I start smiling because I expect her to think that I'm lying. So
Mm,
then I was like, oh, so I double thought. Like, I thought to myself, oh, maybe I did do it. And I said, all right, yeah, maybe I did. But then this morning she's got up and made a coffee, and then she spilled the water all over the place. So it was her who's done it. But what must be happening is when it's leaking after you finished about it with it, it's spilling over the side. But like I just can't keep a straight face whether I'm lying or whether I'm telling the truth. Like I always think people think that I'm lying, so I'd be terrible at it. Like
And
I'd be
you're
straight
also
out.
really bad at like you're really bad at telling people bad news as well.
Really bad, yeah.
Like you
I
are
wouldn't.
the worst person at
Yeah.
being able to be. You can't be brutal, can you?
Nah, like because like I'm quite confrontational at times, but like not really with people. Like my manager
Mm.
laughs because like I get myself in a fettle about things and I start kicking off and I like start at a negative, but like really I know that there's nothing that's going to be done. Like they're not going to change processes and stuff like that. So he always says that like I start on a negative and then I end up arguing with myself and then sort of turning it around because like I'm not confrontational.
Over the hill.
I don't like I don't like giving people bad news at all. I can't kind of do it. You've seen me try
Isn't
to
it
manage
funny?
a football team.
Isn't it really funny though when it's anything bad news in the football team? It's kind of like Lewis, will you just message them, or Lewis, will you speak to them? And it's not that I'm a horrible person at all, but I really don't care. Like I actually don't, and I know this is really bad to say on like what the type of podcast that we do, but I would rather be honest and upfront
Yeah,
with giving someone some bad news than not, and potentially set them up for a fail.
yeah,
So, for example, like you starting or not starting, I would, even though I'm not the manager, if I had to have that conversation with you, I would just say it first and then have the like
yeah,
nice conversation with you after. Well, what lots of people do is they start with a nice conversation and it builds up worse and worse and worse, and then they can't say the bad thing because they're in a
yeah.
nice conversation. I think if you have to tell someone some bad news, say it, then have the conversation
I think
after.
I can do it with me close mates and that, like close friends and stuff. I find it easy, but like other people, like it just feels harsh. I
Yeah,
don't
you are
know.
really bad at
I,
it.
yeah, I don't know if I'd ever be
So,
able to.
so the traitor question. So you don't think you would lie great, which I'm not sure actually. I think you'd probably be pretty good at it. But do you think you could do the whole game playing part?
Well, if I was a traitor, I'd be fucked. I couldn't be the traitor because, like I say, I would be smiling all the time. But also, like, I'm
But
watching
you
it.
would look guilty. You would look guilty,
Yeah, no, but I
even
end
if
up
you
getting
weren't
voted.
guilty.
That's what the thing. I'd end up getting voted out, and I'd be like the Aaron guy on the first one when he's crying his eyes out and that. And like, because I probably wouldn't cry, but I get really angry getting accused of doing something that I haven't done. So
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be very good at it. I'd like to give it a go. Like, it would be a good experience, wouldn't it?
Hmm. I actually think I'd be good at it.
Mm.
I do.
I think you'd be good at it, yeah.
I
But
feel
you're a
I would.
liar. Fantastic liar.
Yeah. No, I think I would be good at it mainly because, but then I would get voted out because I'm talkative. And I
Yeah.
would be the one going, they're the traitor, they're the traitor. Because I would try and figure it out. My brain just
But
doesn't go
that's the
slow.
thing, isn't it? You're trying
You
to
would do
figure
the
out
same.
which
To be fair, you
way,
would do the same.
because I have been watching it and thinking about like, oh, how would you play it and stuff like that. But like, do you know, like at some point when someone just accuses you, like I don't have that quick
Especially if you're
sort
not a
of,
traitor. If you're
yeah,
not a
yeah, yeah.
traitor, you can't disprove
Well, it's
a
the
lie.
hardest thing in the world. That's why you're innocent until proven guilty. The burden of proof to prove that you've done something wrong, isn't it? Because it's impossible to prove you're innocent of something. You know what I mean?
That you haven't done yet.
Yeah, yeah. But that's a good show. I'm actually enjoying it. I wasn't really that bothered about it before, but
At
I
first.
hadn't got to the table scene yet, so
Yeah.
that's why it was
That's
it
where it gets
wasn't
really
that.
interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Really good at it.
you mentioned at the start of the podcast that your lovely wife,
Mhm.
Azusa, look, I said it right,
Azus
Azusa.
Azusa. Yeah, that's it.
Azusa. I've been calling her Azusa for like a year,
Just call her
which is
baby
really
like
bad.
I do, mate. It's much easier.
Oh, that's a bit awkward though in front of you, isn't it? Just say it when you're not there.
That's what you call me in front of her.
Yeah, but that's different. um, yeah, it's one of those where obviously she's about to go on holiday. Well, not holiday. She's going back to Japan. I don't know
Oh,
if you
she's
want to
not
talk.
going on holiday. She says.
She says exactly. Yeah. So she's going back to her motherland. She's going back
Mhm.
to Japan. I don't know if you want to talk about why. We can skip past it if not.
No, it sounds alright. Just I think we've talked
Especially, I'm
about
just
it.
yeah, just think to set up next week's guest, it's probably a good topic of conversation.
Yeah, because we've brought it up on the podcast a couple of times when we've had some experts on. I think we had Sean Greenaway. He was an
Brilliant
expert
guest.
on male fertility. And basically, me and Azusa have been trying for a baby for a little while, on and off for a couple of years, and it's not working at the moment. So we went to, well, it's part of the visa application that she's on. She's on a spouse visa. You have to pay an NHS surcharge. So you pay something like £500 per year for the visa. So it's about £1,250 because you get a 2.5 year visa. And you can get any help at all, like if she needed a heart transplant, and any emergency surgery, anything at all that you can get on the NHS apart from fertility help. Now, we went to the doctors to ask, but we didn't want. We're not looking at necessarily IVF. All we wanted to do was the checks to
Understand.
see if everything's okay. But like they won't even do the checks to see if she's okay because she doesn't qualify. So what they've said is once you get your indefinite leave to remain, you'll qualify. But she's 30, nearly 31 now. She's got another 2.5 years. She'll be 33, and obviously the older you get, the harder it is technically. So. We've explained the circumstances with both her work and my work, and they've agreed to let her go back to Japan for 6 weeks and work from home. And there she'll get help with the tests that she can't get here in the UK. So hopefully go over there and just get some sort of answers. But yeah, that's why she's going basically, and it's her work and my work have both been pretty understanding. She's allowed to work from home in Japan, and
And
I'm
your
allowed to
work is
work.
and your work's giving
Yeah,
you 6 weeks off, so we can just have like a boys' holiday for 6 weeks,
yeah. I wish that'd be class, wouldn't it? But
and
now
paid
I'm
and paid as well, which is
just
amazing.
just working from home a couple of days a week for the dog. But
Yeah,
that's the next best thing, I guess.
yeah. No, and how are you feeling about that? How are you feeling? So this will be the longest you guys have been apart, isn't it?
Something like that. Yeah, she went back before for a couple of weeks. She's been back a few weeks. Yeah. Um, to be honest, it just flies anyways. To be honest, like goes quite quick. Yeah.
So,
Like
so is that safe to say you're not really that bothered? Is that
no,
what you're saying?
I will be bothered. I will miss out on that, of course. But no, just because then I just do what I do now, anyways, but without the grief. So I just go to football 7 days a week instead of 5 days a week, and I don't get in trouble, you know. Um,
So excited for this.
Nah, but the hard thing is the time difference. So I think they're 8 hours ahead. So like when I finish work, it's like gonna be 3 in the morning, so I don't really get much chance. And obviously when I'm at work, I don't have much chance to talk either. So really the only opportunity that we'll have to speak will be like sort of when I'm up in the morning on my way to work, on the way to the gym or something like that. But then that'll be the time when she's sort of planning on going out with friends or going to the doctors or what have you. So you just find that it's a little bit difficult to have the conversations and stuff. But we did long distance at the start of the relationship, so just be 6 weeks of long distance again, you know.
Yeah, but I have to be honest. I think you're both handling it very well. What was interesting in the car the other day when she said, she said something along the lines of, "No, I'm not really bothered. I'm just scared that he won't be able to look after himself." Which then sparked a debate on who does the washing, who does the cleaning, who does the cooking, who does the looking after each other. So I
Like
have
the
to be
house
honest,
will
after
not.
that conversation, I have no idea who does it.
It'll like I cook for myself. I cook for myself and like I do the dishwasher and stuff like that. So I mean, what it'll be is the house will be a bomb site for 5 weeks and 6 days, and then on the last day I'll run round and I'll tidy up, and it'll look spotless, and she won't know anything otherwise.
Can you just keep like behind you in the podcast tidy at least? Because I think the highlight of the podcast was when your wife's mum was staying over, and then there was just you in the room, and you could see like, she was clearly living in the room early doors. Yeah, that was quite an interesting one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I'll
so
be alright, man.
no, I think you'll be fine. We'll have to try and get back on a bit of a health kick though, because you being on a health kick keeps me on a health kick. If you're not on a
Yeah.
health kick, you're my bad influence for me just to go out and eat loads of chip
Well,
food.
I was thinking about just absolutely caning it for 6 weeks. Can I say You know, like when I start going to football and stuff like that, and all that sort of going for runs and going to the gym and stuff like that, it's all time that I could be spending with Azusa. So every now and again, it gets a little bit too much for her, and then I have to sort of rein it back in, which is understandable because you know what I'm like. Some days it's non-stop. So yeah, I think for 6 weeks, really, I just want to cane it as much as I can, get as fit and as healthy as I can as well.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good plan. I think that tees up next week's guest really well. We have Caitlin Spears coming on. Is that how you say her name? Spears?
Yeah,
Or Spears? Coming on the
Spears.
podcast next. Spears coming on the podcast next week, and she's talking all about female fertility and IVF, which I have to be honest, hasn't ever affected me, and not in a. I've been in a relationship before where there was challenges around having a baby, but not to that degree. I have to be honest, and it's one of those where we've committed this year as a podcast to talk more about men and women's health. Our listeners, when we look at Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, the split is very much 50-50 men and women. And we get lots of questions all of the time to talk not only about men's health, which as a group of men, it's a challenge for us to do because we don't naturally talk about some of the things we talk about, but we can talk about it way more comfortably with a level of understanding of we are a man and we may have experienced some of this stuff. When we talk about some of the women's health challenges, I think it's as much to show that in society we have all of these sort of taboo subjects that people don't talk about because they feel like they may be opening themselves up to be too vulnerable, or they don't know how other people react to how they're truly feeling. I think it's for us to say, look, we're going to talk about some of these topics as a group of men who it certainly hasn't affected me. Dean's just opened up a little bit there. It is affecting their relationship to a degree. James, who is married to my sister and is obviously one of the hosts on the podcast, it's something that they're exploring too. They've had some challenges as well, which they've opened up, or James has opened up on a previous episode. And I think for me, us moving into talking about women's health as well is a real opportunity for us to be better men. And I know that sounds very idealistic, blue sky thinking and whatever, but for us to truly do and be what we want to be as a podcast, which is a place where men and women, but originally we set out for men to go to learn, listen, understand, not feel alone, all those sorts of things. I think we have to talk about some of the women's health issues as well, because if we don't, there could be someone in a relationship, a man in a relationship with a woman, who the communication in their relationship maybe isn't as strong as it potentially could be, because maybe they don't open up and talk about how they are both feeling around a certain situation. And hopefully we can, by bringing these types of conversations to life, we can allow or support people in having those conversations and ultimately be happier and improve the place that they are in today. So yeah, really excited for next week's guest. Bless her. I'm gonna say it. She did say she was a little bit nervous because she's never done a podcast before, and I think that's another thing. A year ago, 90% of the lads on the podcast hadn't ever done a podcast before, but it's quite funny how over time you just get used to it. We're just a group of lads talking, but actually bringing people on who have a story to share. Her journey sounds incredibly emotional, but the fact that she's coming and talking about it, and she does a lot of amazing work on Facebook. She has a Facebook group which help people who are struggling with IVF and fertility challenges. Just is a true testament to what an incredible guest she's going to be. So that's one to say. Next week may be slightly emotional. We will reach out to Kleenex for some tissues, I'm sure. Not for the usual reasons that Ethan would have said in the past, but because we may cry. So yeah, just be prepared that next week will be an emotional one, and we are really in an emotional way, in a supportive way, excited to bring it, because I think it's one of the conversations that men don't really have. So yeah, super excited for next week's guest. So, Dean, let's go into some silly questions. We can pick some in the chat. You can find some. We have to just be honest. If anyone who's listening, watching, whatever, wants to ask us anything at all, we will answer it. Some crazy stuff. That's fine. You can be as silly as you want. I think this one is definitely you, the top one, the first question. You will 100% have done this.
Yeah, but
Have
like
you?
it's thinking about on the spot, isn't it? Like, you need to send them in advance, and then I can think of them
I
because I'm
did.
not.
I've said it half an hour ago.
Oh yeah, but we're talking about things I can't do that and read and think.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, this one, you'll always have one for this one, knowing you. What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you? You've got to have loads. Like, you're an idiot in the best way possible, and you will have done some really idiot things.
I'm just trying to think of
And I
like
say that
some.
with love.
I mean, I've got one about one of the questions you've here had where have you ever had a wardrobe malfunction when you're at a public place?
He literally has every time we go out.
But one was I used to work at this call center, and if they used to have a ping pong table, and every time you got a sale, you were allowed to come offline and play ping pong. So we used to just lie and say that we had got a sale. You just go to the board and you just put your sale on. We just go play ping pong. And I was playing with my mate Tom Kenny, and we're playing ping pong. And I stretched for a ball, and it was business. It was a business dress as well. And I stretched for a ball, and as I played the shot, I just split my trousers. And I'm not talking about like the tiny little hole. I'm talking about literally from like the inseam down to like my calf, like on both legs. It was ridiculous. And they used to have this power hour. So like for the
Yep.
last hour of work, everybody used to have to stand up, and they take your seats away. And the manager come over and he said, "Oh, come on, I need to take your seat." And I was like, "You cannot take me seat. I've literally standing. You can nearly see me bollocks through me fucking boxer shorts. It was that bad." And they literally said,
They must
"We
have been
can't."
tight.
Yeah, they were like, "We can't make an exception for you." They were like, "If you sit down, everyone's got to sit down." So I had to literally stand up with my trousers just completely split at work. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. That does sound like you, I have to be honest. I feel like we could have went with any time you wear a t-shirt. So we have a running conversation, right? That Dean is probably a medium to large now, but pre this 75-day
Small to
hard,
medium now.
no,
Yeah.
not a chance. We had this conversation. We have this conversation. I think we even had it on Saturday night, didn't we? With Conway. And you literally buy clothes too small and you say, well, I'll just get
I'm
I'll
not gonna
lose weight and fit
buy.
into the
I'm not gonna buy an extra large, right? When like I'm not gonna be an extra large for like in a couple of months' time. Like, what's the point? But also, like the t-shirts do fit. Like other ways, it's just the length. That's all. But if I go because of my like height and that, if I go extra
But you could go
large,
large. You could go large.
yeah. But if I go large, it's like really wide and baggy. But it's only a little
It's
bit longer.
not.
Yes, it is. I'm telling you. I'm telling you now. I'll get a large out and I'll put a large on.
And and everyone will be like, nice to see Dean's actually wearing clothes that fit him.
How about then? You got
Right.
one of these.
Well, you're gonna have to ask me one and I'll give it a shot.
Uh,
Or if you can think of one.
uh,
I
um,
can't carry it all by myself.
have you ever wet your pants?
What?
That's one that's on the one that you've sent.
I think we all have a little bit. Do you know when that sounds so wrong, doesn't it? Do you know when do you know the times when you really need a wee and like there's a toilet and I can't even admit to one. I'm gonna be honest. And it's not like I've not full on puddle in my pants. I haven't done that. But the times where there's a bathroom and you're like, it's just there. I'll run to get there, whatever. And have you ever got there and it's locked or someone's in
Yeah,
it, but
aye.
your bladder has
Yeah.
gone, no, you've been teasing me that it's gonna happen.
Yeah, no, like that's literally the
Yeah.
last second that you can get to the toilet. Like there is no more, is there? Nah, yeah.
No. And it's one of those where like it just there's almost like it's like a shot. It's like and you're like, no. And the worst thing was, so I've done it once before. I have to be honest. Well, twice. We'll stick with twice. I've done it more than twice, but in grey joggers, and you just have a patch,
Oh.
and you're like, I'm outside, and I have a patch. Luckily, I don't own any grey
You have to
joggers now.
splash more water all over the grey joggers
Yeah,
to make
that's
it
it.
look like
Do you know?
you rub your hands
Oh,
on them and that.
do you know the worst one is if you wear? So I sometimes wear grey chinos, and
Cargos.
do you know if you go to not cargos? Even my cargos do the same thing. To be fair, sometimes if you go to a urinal, which to all women, they're those toilets on the wall in a men's bathroom.
Splashback.
If you ever get splashback, and
Yeah.
it kills you, like
There's no way you can point it at that thing where you don't get splashback.
yeah.
There's nothing you can do.
And then you have to make the conscious decision. That was really hard to say. Conscious decision. Try say conscious decision really fast.
Conscious decision. It was like
Sound like
Sean Connery a little
Sean
bit.
Connery.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, we will take that. You feel like a weirdo if you go into a men's bathroom or men's toilets. Bathroom. We don't call it a bathroom. The loos, man. If you go into a toilet. And sounds like it basically happens every day, Liz. Yeah, I'm not doing a great job, April. I'm going to be honest. I am not getting around the story great. That's really bad, isn't it? I've just blatantly admitted that I just pissed myself.
Or piss on yourself.
Or piss on myself on purpose against the urinal. No, but you have to make the decision then. Depending on what you're wearing, I'm going to go into the toilets. Do I go into an actual cubicle, or do I use the wall? The wall. And it's one of the wall. One man, one toilet. Use the wall. Yeah. I feel like you have to then decide: are you going to go to a toilet or a bathroom? I'm even losing my own trail of thought here because of the wall. Yeah, and you look like a weirdo. I think, especially if you're on a night out and you go to and use a cubicle, you either look like you're using drugs, or you're a weirdo, or you're having a poo. And actually,
Which
all
is
you
just
want
as
to do is
bad.
have a wee,
Yeah.
or just as bad, and actually, all you actually want to do is wee.
Isn't
and
it
not
funny
wee on
about
your own pants.
all the overthinking that you have about like what other people will think about, you know? What about do you like a sit down wee?
Yeah, I always sit down wee.
Sit down wees are the best, like, aren't they? Like I
Like
never ever,
honestly,
especially sorry, go on.
yeah, at home. That's it. Sit down wee.
Yeah. Well, like my
It's so
lass
much
has got
easier.
she's got these Japanese things that you like put on the toilet seat, so like it's a really nice and soft to sit on the
What?
toilet seat. It's like a little cushion that you've got to go sit on the toilet seat. So like every single time I go, I just like have and I sing
But you
I
know what
sing
that
a
makes
little.
me think of?
What's that?
That makes me think of a carpet in a bathroom,
Yeah, it's not
which is
like
just
that. It's
disgusting.
nice and fluffy. But I even sing a song like a sit down wee to treat myself.
What? What'd you do?
Like
Sorry,
you know
mate.
the
Sorry, mate. I didn't hear that. It went a bit crackly there.
and he goes, sit down wee to treat myself. You know that what song is it? When the day is dawning,
Da, 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 da,
on a
da.
Texas Sunday morning. Yeah, but it's sit down wee to treat myself. Aye.
Sit down wee to treat myself. Is that it? Da, da,
Yeah,
da.
that's the one. Yeah.
Never heard of it, mate.
Well, no, because I just made it up, mate.
That's very weird. But you are a weirdo, as we've discovered multiple times. Yeah, I have to be honest. Sitting down wee is the. We're going to talk about another wee thing here. Do you ever sometimes go for a wee, and you go for a wee, and sometimes it just the direction is you cannot control the direction.
Nah.
That
That's
never
why
happens.
that's why we sit down, isn't it?
Oh,
like truth be
that
told,
does-
that's
that
yeah,
does
that
happen.
definitely
That's
does
why you do it.
happen. Yeah.
Like
Because
sometimes you
nothing
go for a
worse.
wee, and you're like, right, I know the direction this should go. It's a hole.
It starts
Just
coming out and you
wee.
correct it, and then it just corrects itself again, and then you piss on the floor.
It's like-
That's why we sit down.
It's literally that. If I had hair, it'd be like. It's like one of those, isn't it? Where you think, how has that happened? So that is literally why I sit down.
I don't know.
It is. But do you ever sit there? If you sit down too long, right? And even a sit down wee, and you're just like playing on your phone like this, and you're there for obviously we've talked about this before. You fall down the reels trap or whatever, and then do you ever get a dead leg? Or dead legs, like pins and needles and stuff.
Nah, I don't really sit there that long. Just like to
No,
get
it's
in
just
and
me
get
then.
out, me.
In, out, shake it all about. Sitting
Don't even
down
get
though.
a start. Yeah. Don't even get a start on the shaking malarkey as well, because it doesn't matter how many times you shake. You shake. Stand there for ages, and apparently any more than three is meant to be a wank, which I always
Is
thought.
it?
That's
Oh,
what
right.
that's what people used to say.
Is that
Any
a
more than
rule?
three, and
I've
you're
not.
having a wank, yeah.
Right.
In my toilet's upstairs, and it doesn't matter how many times you shake. You could stay there for an hour, and then you run down the stairs, and then it just comes out. I was explaining this to me missus, right? Because she was like, "How does that even happen?" And I was like, "Imagine this. Imagine a tap, right? And you get a tap, and you turn the tap off, but then you shake the tap. The little bits of water just sort of drip off."
It's true.
Oh,
It's true.
it
It
is
is very
true.
true. I think the whole shaking, but yeah, the shaking only seems to not work if I'm wearing pants that
Yeah,
would
oh, yeah,
show that it didn't
the grey
work.
ones, yeah, it works
The grey
otherwise.
ones or something, like black jeans or something. Clearly, it's like I will turn off now. I am good. And then grey pants is like I'm coming. Psh, I
Fuck's
didn't. I
sake.
only shake it 3 times as per jeans. Anymore, it's yeah. How do we
Do you
get onto
know,
that
that
conversation?
was actually a little bit of a funny story. I don't know if you've ever had this as well, but it was one time I was in Liquid, and in Liquid, the toilet, the
That's a
urinal,
club in Newcastle
yeah,
for everyone who
Liquid's
doesn't know
nightclub
Newcastle.
in Newcastle, and the urinal's one of the long ones, and it's literally like the full
I like the
length of the
trays,
bar.
the silver
Yeah,
tray minging things. Ugh.
aye, that's it. But it's the full length. So there was about 8 or 9 people standing having a piss, and some guy come in, and at the bottom you've got the little yellow urinal cakes.
Ah, they stink
And the
as well,
guy
don't they?
was the guy was like, "Oh, look, a cake!" And he just picked one up and put it in his mouth and fucking ate it. Oh, it's
So,
fucking disgusting.
do you know when you said to me, "I don't know if you will have had this before"?
Have you never? No, because I've told that story to people before, and other people have said, "Oh yeah, I know that one too." Like I've seen someone do that too.
That person was on drugs. We can safely say that, surely, because
There's been
I envisage that being just like foam. Never touched one, surprisingly enough. But I imagine it just being like a foam soaked in piss.
no, I don't think it's foam. It's like I think it's like
You sound like
a,
you were the one who ate it here.
it's like a really. I think what I think it would be like is like a really really tight like snowball sort of kind of thing, but obviously not like
What?
ice. That kind of consistency. I think. I don't know.
That
I'll
just
have to
makes me
try
think of
one.
foam. What does it make you feel, right? Of biting a cotton glove? Does that give you shivers?
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't know
Or the
that.
knife and fork when you're cutting it goes.
I don't mind that one.
Do you not?
I don't
Oh
mind that one.
no.
No, I don't mind that one.
I
Yeah.
hate the polystyrene out of boxes and that. Like horrible.
That like squeak?
Oh, horrible, mate. Aye. Ugh.
What's your thoughts on bubble wrap?
Don't mind it. I'm not asked. Couldn't give a fuck about it, to be honest. Indifferent.
Not indifferent.
Yeah. Like if I'll pop it if it's there, but if it's not, I'm not bothered.
Like you're not going to go out your way to find some bubble wrap to pop it.
Well, there's bubble wrap.
Basically.
There's bubble wrap in there. I wouldn't go and pop it, but if she had it out, I would pop it. You know what I mean?
So do you know how we talk about us having ADHD and we're a little bit, or we believe we have something, but we're definitely wrong in
Yeah,
some way. Like
something not right.
we're
Like.
not there's definitely not whatever the perfect brain is. I definitely don't have that. So like I have to like touch and I have to keep putting this down because otherwise you'll just see me keep doing this. Like I'm
You're
really
doing
bad
little,
for
little round edges.
yeah, like or just
I
do that.
seen one on Twitter today, and it was it was talking about the TV remotes and like how everyone goes like like along the numbers all
I'm
the way
so
down
bad
to the
for that.
bottom. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm one of mine's. When you're driving in the rain, the
Mhm.
windscreen wiper going like that, and like making it hit the top, not against the lamppost. So
Oh, don't tell me
like
that.
as it goes, as it goes. Do you know what else I love to do when I'm driving? Don't try this at home. But trying to cross from one lane to the other, but without hitting the cat's eyes in the middle. So like trying to. Sometimes you have to like give yourself a nice angle, but obviously that's not the angle you want to be driving towards another lane, really. But that's the one I like to do as well.
Yeah. So if you see Dean driving, just get out the way. I think that was the lesson there. He will hit you to not hit the cat's eyes.
I'm a good driver.
That is a yeah. You are a good driver. I'd be honest with that. I think it's odd how we have so many of these little things. Do you know one for me, right? And I'm such a weirdo for this. I'm not as bad now. I'm a bit older, but when I used to play football when I was younger, I used to if I felt like I'd pressed too hard on one foot, right, I'd have to do this weird little like tap 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 on my other foot to like balance out the weight. Obviously, it's
Really?
all in my head. Yeah, so like if I had like stepped on my right and it felt like a heavy step, I'd have to like look like I'm revving up a motorbike or something. No one would ever know, but I'd have to like just tap until like the balance had almost got right of pressure. That was really weird. Do you have any sort of like rituals or anything, even with football getting ready or stuff?
Nah, not really. Nah, I don't really have anything at all. I just do them weird things that we're just saying before. Um, like looking at square things and just like going around the edges of them and that, but like nothing, no ritual. Just sometimes I find myself doing daft stuff. Really.
Do you know one that I'm really bad for and I actually waste so much time on? So if I watch some sort of a video, so I'll be watching a video and say the time is 4 minutes. It hits 4 minutes. I have to watch it turn. It's 3 minutes 50. I have to
Oh
watch
yeah,
it
nah.
turn 4 minutes. Then I have to watch it get to 4:40, like 4:04,
Oh nah.
4:14, 4:24, 4:34, 4:44. Right. And then I have 15 seconds rest, and then my brain goes 5 minutes.
Nah.
So I have to do
That's
5 minutes, 5:05, 15. Honestly, I have to really try hard not to become obsessed with that. Like my brain just sees the pattern in the numbers, and it's like,
just
and I'll
never
be
have the
watching the video
number
and
on.
enjoy it.
Or do you
Oh
have to
no,
like, so if the number disappears, you have to click it? Oh, fuck, nah, it's
yeah,
stupid.
yeah, literally. And
Because then
so
you have
if
to have like the little play logo showing because you need to see the play logo and the numbers at
and
the
then I'm
same
not
time. Nah.
listening, and I'm not actually watching it. I'm actually just
Yeah.
fixated on these numbers.
I'm bad for looking but not seeing or listening
Listening.
but not hearing, you know what I mean? Like,
You're
I
so
go
bad for that.
really. Do you know what? I watch these podcasts back. Like I'm so bad. I look like I just don't give a fuck. It looks like I'm not paying attention to anything that's being said, but I'm taking it all in. I'm just. What happens is I see something on the screen and I end up looking at that, and then like I was explaining. I don't know if you've seen one. I don't know if anybody noticed, but there was the podcast I think 2 weeks ago, and I had Facebook open, and when I had Facebook open, I had the podcast on, and when I looked, even though on my screen I was mirrored, on the Facebook I wasn't, and I was like, what? So I looked reversed, and I was like, so I was in here, and I was just like, I reversed it, and then I was like, okay, so I was waiting for the podcast, but then even though I reversed it on here, it didn't reverse on Facebook, and I was like, what? So then I like reversed it again. Then I went back to Facebook. So like in the in the video, it actually was changing. So when you watch it, I'm just reversing me picture like three, four, five, 6 times during the fucking podcast, and somebody's probably talking about something pretty interesting, and I'm just like,
Yeah, to be honest, the amount of times we have conversations and you're just not listening, and you're there, you're in the room, and you're not actually doing anything else, but you're so bad for just drifting off into your own Dean Wonderland, aren't you?
and I have these full on thought processes within like a millisecond. Like my last was, I
Mm.
remember we were out for dinner and she was having a conversation, she was talking to us, and there was this flower on the table, and I was just wondering, like, I wonder if that flower's real or not. And she was like, "Are you listening?" And I was like, "I am." She goes, "What I just saying? I can reel off what you just said because I'm still sort of thinking it's not registering, but like I'm really interested in whether or not the flower's fucking real or not at that moment in time." And you know,
Yeah.
while I'm waiting for it, like I cannot stop thinking about it. I'm really, really, like biting my nails. Like if I find a bit of nail that I need to bite, I cannot get it out of my head until I've done it. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm. I'm so bad for what you've just said. Like really, really bad for being in the room
I think
and being
I think it's
focused.
everyone's going to be like this. I feel like it's not just us thing now, and I think it is a lot of the social media thing. Like You can't even finish 30-second videos without flicking to the next one to see if you can
Mm.
get a better one and all that. And
Another
I do think,
dopamine hit.
yeah, and my dopamine hit would just be finding out if that flower was real or not. And for the listeners who are desperate to know, it wasn't real. It looked so real though. Makes
Did you take
sense
it home?
though.
Did you take it home?
Nah.
I feel like we should tell the listeners about you trying to get me to steal the Nando's pot on Friday.
I didn't do anything. Why didn't you just take it? I would have had it.
I know you would have. Like, we were in Nando's, right? And we started off the conversation today saying that we went to Nando's on Friday. We got loads of food. And in the photos, just mine and Ethan's food. And Ethan is going to be coming back on the podcast as well. There's been lots of people asking. Ethan is going to come back on the podcast, but he's probably only going to come back when we do in-person podcasts. He's got lots going on at the moment, but in person, we are super excited to have him back because he is a big idiot, but he's a brilliantly talented person when it comes to talking. So yeah, we've massively missed having him on every week. Side note, back to this. So we had a lot of food and we got a box, didn't we? And I was like, I don't really feel like putting my rice in a box is the right thing. So it's in one of those little China, is it China maybe?
Bowls, just a little bowl.
China
Really.
bowl, whatever. Dean's like, just take it. I was like, I can't steal a bowl
It
from
fit
Nando's.
perfectly. Literally, it was designed to be put in that box.
I do regret it now. I'm going to be honest. I do regret it now. I should have just stole the little plate from Nando's.
You could have took it back. Like next time you went in, just by the way, I took this. You have it back. They wouldn't say anything, would they? They say, all right, no bother.
But then why take it?
Because you didn't want your rice. You didn't want your rice being inside of the cardboard box. Yeah.
I thought you meant just steal it because.
Well, I did, but like I'm just saying, if you feel bad about it, you can take it back.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, okay.
Allegedly.
Obviously, I didn't tell them. Yeah, allegedly, you may have suggested that it could be a good idea to take it or not. But yeah, we'll wrap up tonight's episode. We're only ever going to have a short one because there was no guest, and we wanted to as much talk about next week's episode being a huge one with having an incredibly brave person coming on, sharing their story about female fertility. And it's one that we, as men, are super keen to share. And I have to be honest, I'm a little bit nervous for it because it's probably the first time we've had a female come on and open up about their stuff in a way that I've not had any sort of like linkage to, other than obviously you sharing your story and James sharing his story about him and my sister. So it's one where I don't feel personally as confident with all of the questions and stuff that I would usually ask. So this is probably as much one for you guys to step up and ask all your questions too.
I'll do a bit of homework for this one.
Bloody hell. So for everyone, this will be the first time he's done homework in a year.
Well, to be honest, I was just reading the story before, and it was quite good because I know Caitlin a little bit from like house parties and stuff in the past, long time ago. But yeah, I didn't know. I knew bits and bobs of the story, so I was just having a little read of it. And it's quite interesting here. So I'll be a little bit interested. It falls a little bit under sort of what I'm going through, kind of as well. So I think even my lass will be a little bit interested in that one.
Yeah. So yeah, what I would say, and it's shameless, but any likes, shares, comments, inviting friends to our page, super grateful for it. It means a lot to us. We are just a group of normal young lads from the Northeast trying to make a difference in the world. And if not the whole world, someone's world. So yeah, thank you very much for listening to us tonight. We are super grateful. Dean did not appreciate that one.
I'm just wondering which podcast you got that one from. I'm going to find that one out as well.
I've said that before, and I would say it again. Last week's was the best when I just ad-libbed that. I could never say it again.
I'm still not. I can't remember what it is. I'm going to watch that episode back and find out. I'm going to find it. Yeah, it was probably good. Chris Williamson or something.
Nah, it's me. I promise. All this magic and this bald, shiny head. Rub it in, magic happens. But no, thank you very much to everyone who listened. We are super grateful for all of the support, genuinely. We hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and we will catch you next week. Good night.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one. If you waited 9 seconds.